Who the hell can wait till morning? Talk now at latenightsportsradio.com.
1, 1, 2. Check me out right here, yo.
Yo, the sun don't shine forever, but it's
Welcome into the Bob Sullivan Show here on latenightsportsradio.com. I'm joined here in hour number 1 by Thomas Murphy of ProFootballCentral.com. Thomas, how you doing tonight?
I'm great, Bob. Thanks for having me on. How you doing? How's your first full Sunday of football, my friend?
It was a refreshing day of football. I'm not, a crazed maniac when it comes to football, but it was good to see stuff like I was more excited about college football starting than I was pro. It was refreshing to see Jack Del Rio have some balls today and go for 2 to win the game.
That was nice. That was nice. I caught the highlight of that. That was kind of refreshing. Del Taco usually doesn't go that route, but it was good for him, good for his team, and I'm with you. I was glad that they went for that.
As far as the Patriots go, up 10-7 at the half. What are your thoughts on Garoppolo so far, as not only as a writer but as a Patriots fan?
A real nice first half. He was 7 for 11 for 106 yards and that touchdown in the first half. It was nice. He moved the ball well. It's always tough matching up against an unknown, and that's what the Cardinals were doing. And Jimmy took advantage of it. He hit Edelman time and time again. I think Edelman had 4 catches, maybe 40 yards in the first quarter alone, and it was nice. Things were clicking. They were moving along really well. They got kind of bogged down there in midway through the second half when Chandler Jones and company got in there for a strip sack. And kind of slowed things down a little bit. But I like the way Jimmy's moved the ball. When he's had time, he's been able to do good things. And, right now he's 10 for 16 with 133 yards and a touchdown. And you really couldn't ask for more except maybe holding on to the ball.
Yeah.
We said beforehand, one of my keys to the game was winning this turnover battle. And so far that's not happening, but the Pats are still up.
As far as the, Patriots go, if Garoppolo, what do you think the odds are Garoppolo were to, how good do you have to play? And if he plays out of this world, what are the odds he keeps his job? Because I think it's, even if they go 4-0 and he throws 20 touchdowns,
right,
he's still going to lose the job. It's
of course.
That's still 1 in a million that he loses the job, but...
The odds are less than 0.
Well, wouldn't you be crazy to even entertain it just a little bit? But if you're Belichick, if he is just playing lights out, they're 4-0, or would he be insane to just not go back to Brady?
He would. He'd be insane. This public would rise up and burn down Foxborough. There's no way that that this would happen. The public wouldn't stand for it, and he's not going to do it. Tom Brady is you can see it every time the Patriots take the practice field. Every time, this is Tom Brady's team. The team he'd lose the team if he did that. It's nice to go back and watch A Football Life and how Belichick now says that they were thinking about starting Brady back in the day before Bledsoe had even gotten hurt. I've never bought that for 5 minutes. But if he did that, he would lose this team. This team would literally sit down. It's not. Anyway, it's not going to happen. You don't sit down the greatest quarterback that has ever played the game for a kid that's had 4 great games. What you do is you take those 4 great games, you put them in a safe deposit box in the bank, and then you find somebody like Minnesota to give you multiple first-round picks for him next year. Because right now, the way he's playing, and if things keep going the way that in the scenario that you're talking about, he's the second best quarterback in the NFC East. I mean, the AFC East.
Yeah.
He really is. I mean, which would you rather have for the next decade? Ryan Tannehill, Fitzpatrick, or Garoppolo? I mean, maybe Taylor. Tyrod's a good quarterback. I like him, but I'm not in love with the kid. I would still rather have Jimmy Garoppolo.
I think what's his face? Tyrod Taylor he's a fine quarterback. He's nothing special though.
Right.
He gets. I feel like he gets too much credit at times. I could be wrong, but I feel like
But I mean, it goes to show quarterbacks get too much credit. They get too much blame.
With Tyrod Taylor, they're like, wow, he's just really playing well. And it's like he's 11 for 19 for 133 yards and no, like one interception and no touchdowns. It's like, okay,
it's fantasy. It's fantasy numbers. Okay, what happens is the Bills get down big and defenses play off, and they give you underneath stuff, which bumps up his QBR rating, and then he will occasionally chuck the ball a long way downfield, where he has some pretty decent receivers out there, and the scores get closer and closer, but they still don't win. So no, I'm in the same boat with you. He does. He gets too much credit. When times get tough, I wouldn't count on that kid if I really had to.
Speaking of, too much credit, did Danny Amendola get too much credit for holding on to the American flag pregame today?
Maybe a bit.
I mean, it was like everybody was just like, "Wow, this is just the greatest thing on the face of the earth." I mean, it's not like he's the first one to ever do that.
Right. Exactly. He didn't invent it. It was a nice moment. I don't think it was, he planned to build himself up that way. I think Edelman is genuinely that kind of person. So I'd like to give him the benefit of the doubt. But yeah, I mean, let's not go overboard here. It's kind of like the Sully movie. Okay, everybody wants to make Sully out to be the greatest hero of all time. And great, credit where credit's due. But let's get something straight, people. He was saving himself, and he just took you all with him.
I feel like that movie, it's gotten surprisingly good reviews. I thought it was absolutely terrible.
Yeah, it's Tom Hanks. He's going to get good reviews. When does he not get good? My point is, I've been this way since they put Sully on the Today Show and made him out to be the greatest hero in American history for landing a plane on a river and saving everybody's life. He was saving his own life. Yeah. You guys, believe me, it's not like he ran into a burning building to pull you all out. He was in the burning building, and he got the burning building, hosed down in some way by putting it onto a river. Self-preservation is not heroism.
What's funny is that's he's essentially the mother that throws their baby from like a 6-story window onto a trampoline or whatever it is in New York City. That's essentially what he was doing. Like, okay, well, what's either I keep the baby in here and we burn to death, or I drop it and there's still a chance the baby dies, but
he jumped out the window with the baby.
Yeah, she's not jumping out the window. She's going to use the ladder. She gets to use the ladder.
Okay. Yep, there you go. There you go.
Yeah, but that movie looks awful. And I think as well, like Tom Hanks gets way too much credit. I'll take DiCaprio over him every day.
Oh, sure. I'll take Leo. I still haven't seen The Reverend, and I'll still take Leo. I'm one of those. I wait for HBO. I take my kids to see kids movies because who can afford $100 to actually go to a film yourself anymore?
Especially like when it's a movie. Like I would not, as good of a movie as Rocky is when you first see it. That's not a movie I would want to go see in theaters right now. That's too long. There's too much it's too drawn out.
Yep.
I need quick paced, and that was kind of, I don't want to spoil anything with the Revenant, but that's kind of how there's a lot of silent parts and a lot of Leo acting on his own, which
Right.
is he does a great job. But it's like also with Castaway, where you don't want to sit in a movie theater watching
Right.
that for 2.5 hours.
That's it. No. I didn't see. I see it at home. I got 64 inches right here, and I got children to get up and get my soda and popcorn, and it doesn't cost me $80.
Yeah.
I watch it at home, and the Pats just scored again. Patriots are now up 16-7 with a nice run in by LeGarrette Blount. I'm going to have to rewind most of this. Check it out. But it was a good day in football. There were a lot of exciting endings. I'm quite happy with the way things are falling in the AFC East. Everybody lost today. The Dolphins blew a chance to beat the Seahawks. The Bills, of course, lost to Baltimore. I think the last time they won on opening day was probably 1973. And, of course, the Jets lost. And that's always a great thing when the Jets lose. So I was happy. And there were some fantastic finishes. Did you catch that Colts game?
Bob momentarily got lost, but I think we have him back. Hold on. Bob,
Hey.
are you back?
Yeah, I am back.
Hello?
Hello, you were just asked if you watched the Colts game.
The Colts game? No, I did not watch.
Yep.
Tom, is Tom still
Bob,
here?
you back? It's the first time I've ever been on a radio show where
Keith?
the host cut out on me.
Yeah.
Happens on my show with guests once in a while, but when the host gets up to go find a fresh bottle of scotch, maybe I've stayed too